What's up, everybody? I'm back to do a custom request for Anika. Anika hit me up via Instagram. Thanks for reaching out, Anika, and wanted me to look over her chart. She gave me her chart and wanted my perspective on the placements that are there because she feels that some of the placements contradict each other. So I want to begin this video by saying this to Anika first of all, and to everyone who may be watching, right? Or everyone who is watching, of course, is that when you see your whole chart, when you first reading your whole chart, whether it's your first time or if it's your 10th time, because a lot of times you got to go back to do the research, right? When you see things that contradict with each other, just know this, that astrology blueprints do consist of a whole body of work pertaining to your life. At the same time, there are paths that you can take along that path. Okay, sure, you will experience these things that is said inside of the chart. However, at the same time, depending on how you move, whether you know what all of the placements mean or not, will determine whether you experience all of those things. Also related to a contradiction that you may observe. Okay, you might say, well, why is it this says this and then this says that? Then that means I'm not this person. That means I'm this person and I'm that person. So you start questioning yourself and you start questioning the whole thing, right? And the reason I'm telling you, the reason why that is because those placements are relevant and it determines on how you move. It's like a game. Treat it as such. It depends on how you move, which will determine the likelihood of some of those outcomes or the impact of what those placements or how those placements will take part in your life. Okay, so let's get into it. I examined the chart and I looked at some of the ways that I did it, how I do charts personally, right? And the first thing that I saw that I wanted to point out was the Jupiter conjunction Saturn. By the way, Anika is a Pisces. A Pisces is sort of like me because she is a Virgo ascendant. So shout out to you, Anika, for real. For the most part, the first thing that I found out was Jupiter conjunct Saturn. What this says is I have this placement as well, right? So this is what this says, right? This is like, okay, Jupiter, these planets conflict with each other. Because Jupiter is like this big, grand, expansive, I want to help you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to protect you, and I want you to be carefree. Like I'm just go and do, go and be, go and believe, go and explore and expand. And Saturn is like, I don't really care what you believe, these are the breaks. Like these are the facts, these are how things work. These are how things been working, and this is how things will continue to work. There will be rules, there will be regulations, there will be delay. Are you really going to go through with this or are you not? How do we know? How do you know that you can just say or be whatever you want to be and there will be no complications or there will be no responsibilities, right? So here you have Saturn responsibilities, Jupiter, go do what you want, I got your back. And they're right in the same place. They're right in the same house, which is actually in Taurus, right? So check it out now. Boom, Jupiter is inside of Taurus saying, okay, there's a lot of money here to be made, and we're gonna do it, and you get to expressing this optimism, which can be overly done, excessively done, right? Because that's what Jupiter pertains to. And then Saturn may smack you. You may wonder to yourself, well, why did that just happen? Because this says this about me. There's plenty of money to be made here. I will even advance more with higher education. This is a placement for that. So you may already be making money naturally, and then all of a sudden you like finish some type of degree program or you finish some type of trade program, and all of a sudden your money catapults, right? But Saturn is still there and will pump the brakes on you and stop your whole show for whatever reason you may not know. Right? Saturn may even trick. Sometimes Saturn has the ability to trick people into believing that, they may be not good enough, or they may be, just inadequate, or just not be able to do it, because they will stop you right in your tracks and have you question yourself, right? But what Saturn is doing is saying this: where are the results? Not only that, it's a test to see, are you really going to follow through with this? Because Saturn wants to see your ambition. So the key word here for that conjunction is ambition. Determination, excuse me. Not ambition, determination. Okay? Are you determined to do this? So every time you feel like quitting or giving up on what it is that you're trying to do or what you're about to do, especially dealing with the ninth house, it deals with travel and deals with the behind the scene type boss, right? That's preparing for the 10th house, that's gearing you up, getting you ready. It's a very powerful house for you, right? So every time you feel like you're about to quit up, that you're about to quit, like it's just you're not good enough, determination is what will let Saturn know, okay, let them continue. You know what I'm saying? And then Jupiter is just going to hand things to you regardless. You understand what I'm talking about? So that confliction that's going on right there, determination will bring you through it each time. Okay, so also with it being in Taurus there, and okay, we explained that. There's an 8-degree orb going on there, so it's going to be pretty impactful. It's not going to be the strongest impact, but it is going to have impact in your life. You're going to understand this, and because Jupiter is inside of Taurus, you're going to be also dealing with this whole spiritual material thing. Like you're going to want to be materialistic and you want to be spiritual, but this is a great placement for that because you get to do the balance, especially from being in the West. You get to have the balance of saying, okay, I am materialistic, that makes me happy, and I could be spiritualistic too. This makes me happy as well. You have the potential to have that balance because of this placement. Now, Mars in Aries is the next thing that I looked at, right? Mars in Aries is a sextile to the moon in Cancer. All right, so you got Mars in the 8th house, and you got your moon inside of the 10th house, which is a sextile and presents opportunities, right? So Mars is this singular energy. This is where your energy is, right? For where you want to direct and harness your energy to build or create whatever it is that you're going out to create, right? See, here it goes though, and you got a moon inside of the 10th house, which the moon in your 10th house is going to say you want recognition for whatever it is you're doing in life, whatever it is you're about to do in life, and you even want it, it's based upon your career and your personal life. Like you need to be recognized for both, right? So Mars here presenting these opportunities for your solo act, if you will, is great for you, it's strong for you. However, it conflicts with what's going on in your 7th house because you have a 7th house stellium, which is in the house of Pisces. And from astrology, what I can attest to is that wherever your stellium is your strongest suit. Right, so you should just not ignore that because you have all of this, or one placement may make you feel better, right? Because things go in moderation. Too much of anything could be a detriment, right? So you would want to look at your stellium because it's your strongest spot. So you got a 7th house stellium, which means you deal with relationships, you deal with other people, you build close relationships. Companionship is like your number one thing because you got Venus there, so people flock to you, you easily attract people, and you look for a mate to complete you and things of that nature. You may be in love with love sometimes, so be careful with that. And instead of like really being in love with your mate, so you really need to know the ins and outs of a person before you finally commit to them. I digressed a bit, but the 7th house is what I'm talking about, right? It builds on relationships, and then you have a solo energy, which is about conjunct, is about 30 degrees away, Mars being in Aries, and Mars is in the ruling house where it should be, in Aries. So this is really about you, right? It's me. It's about me going on, right? So this makes the people and the relationships that you built inside of the 7th house, if you're looking at it from this perspective of reading your own chart, you're like, wait a minute, this conflicts with what everything is saying, because this means if I'm being recognized, your moon, your emotions is invested into this solar energy inside of your 8th house, which deals with other people's money, it deals with sex, it deals with secrets, it deals with psychoanalysis, right? So this is a personal thing. This is where your personal power is. So how can you have a 7th house stellium that is going to be so impactful as it says it is in your chart? I'm gathering. I'm just looking at what my note says, right? So it's like this. Because you have a 7th house stellium, which is squaring your moon inside of your 10th house, you're going to feel some type of conflict with your emotional side with the relationships that you have. And it may stem from, but it's a challenge, like it's an obstacle, right? So it's something that you have to face. So you may think to yourself, as I was saying before, that from the outside looking in, the relationships that you built is going to look at you like, hey, I thought we had this thing going on together, right? Reciprocal. What's going on with all this solo energy you're boasting about in the 10th house? You want all of this recognition, or it's not like that you really want it. It's just that you've been moving towards it and you're being recognized for it. So, like as I said before, if you think about it, right, it'll be disturbing to you, especially if you're reading it like, okay, I'm supposed to be close to these people. Why do I feel like I might be phony now or flaky? And it's not that. This is what I want to say about that, right? Leaders have to lead ultimately. Leaders have to lead, right? So 8th and 10th house sextile is going to present the opportunities for you. Now, you can delay or refrain from taking those opportunities just for the sake of being with your associates, your business associates, your peer group and everything. But think about this, like put it, I'm going to use an example that's that deals with complementary goods, excuse me. All right, complementary goods. So let's say I build websites, right? And I got about 2 websites up and running, but you code. So it's like we both are able to help each other. So we're building in the 7th house. We build this relationship. You may have done a couple of jobs for me. I may have paid you, code this for me, because I'm so used to doing drag and drop, the simple way of building websites, right? So we link up, we do a few jobs together, we do great, right? And then all of a sudden, I hit you up again, and it's like you hit me back, and you're like, well, I'm booked right now, I'm overworked right now, I just picked up overtime hours, I don't have the time. And then you're like, okay, well, leave me a message and let me know what you need, and I'll see if I'll do it in my spare time. So I leave you a message because I understand your story. I tell you exactly what I need. You don't get back to me. So now I'm stuck in a position where I say, okay, well, what do I do? Do I feel arrogant or feel guilty because I feel this urge to go and do something for myself to make sure that I keep moving forward? Or do I just wait for my friend to get it together and stop doing overtime hours? You understand what I'm talking about? For the sake of friendship or for the sake of the relationship. And I'm telling you this, and even more, because you have a 6th house, Uranus and Neptune there, being trined with your moon inside of your 10th house for recognition, go for it. Go for it. Go and learn some code on yourself and go do it. All right, even if you have to worry about the consequences of how people are going to look at you for it, do it anyway, because leaders must lead. So here you are now, you learned how to code now, and you learned how to build websites. So now you're doing it all by yourself. The people you built relationships with who code, they're now looking at you like, oh, how'd you do that? Or why'd you do that? And you explain to them exactly why you did that, right? And you pull out the list. Look, I hit you up that day, I hit you up that day, you had too many overtime hours, blah, blah, blah. I left a message, I told you in detail what I need. If you get spare time, you never got the spare time, you never hit me back up. Oh, but I was busy, I hit you back 3 weeks later. 3 weeks is too long for me, I got things to do, right? So you was always a player in the game, but now you're just showing yourself as being more of a leader in the game. So you may have come across some coding techniques that they didn't even experience, right? You may have come across a couple of apps or programs that cost less than the apps and programs that they use. So now you're giving them information that you just learned, and it's beneficial to them, right? So they put matters to the side and say, oh, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. You're still prospering and everything, and you're not treating me like a stepchild or anything. You're giving me new information so I can excel in this at the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You are still excelling. You are still being in your element, and because you need, it's an emotional, instinctual need for you to be recognized for what you do inside of your 10th house. All right, and with it being inside of Cancer, the moon is right at home right there. So this deals with family. You got a lot on the line. You got family, you got career, all boiled up inside of one, and the moon is in the ruling house there, right? So you got to perform. You're going to always feel this emotional need to perform there. So even though Neptune and Uranus, Neptune can deal with deception, so you may think like, you may feel like you're confused sometimes when you're making that type of decision. Do it anyway, because you'll find that the deception, especially dealing with a Pisces, you are a Pisces. That's your ruling planet, Neptune, being inside of Aquarius, that deals with the networks and everything. So if you got to tell yourself to pull yourself out of confusion here and there and say, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to do this, because it might feel staged. Like, what else am I supposed to do? They're too busy to code for me. So I'm going to code for myself. Sure, they might get mad at me, right? And you're like, oh, I'm deceiving my friends. I'm deceiving the people that I built relationships with. But the deception, especially for a Pisces, will be the truth. It will be your truth. So you go out there and you do it. No matter what, you're going to land on your feet, because it's like you got to have the belief in yourself. And I don't mean belief like faith. I mean belief like, I put ice cream in the freezer last night, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to eat it because I know I bought ice cream from the store yesterday and I put it inside of the freezer. That's belief. Something that you did that you know is going to be there.
You can merge the pawn. You got them guys a mess. I suggest we carry on. Put it in. Body work. Body language. Her body flip overtime.